Warm greetings from the High 10. It's Everyday Shenanigans, and thanks for joining me. With a very heavy heart, I bring you the worst news today about Miss Felicia Johnson. I just got this notification late because I hadn't received anything pertaining to information of her disappearance and now death. I had spoken with her father briefly weeks ago, and he didn't want to speak to a YouTuber pertaining to the disappearance of his child due to, rumors that were circulating, misinformation pertaining to his daughter, and I understand that. And today, I go in the queue and see the worst news ever pertaining to her disappearance. I want to thank you all for joining me. Prayers to Felicia's father and family and friends. KHOU 11 is the source.
Are looking for the man they say killed Felicia Johnson. She's a California woman who disappeared while visiting Houston more than 8 weeks ago. Chukwuebuka has been following this case since Johnson went missing in early April. Ugochi, good morning to you. What have you learned?
Steph, good morning. It's news we were hoping just wasn't true when we heard about it. And Houston police, they do confirm, they believe that this missing 24-year-old woman who was reported missing before was in fact murdered. And they say they believe it happened here. Now, this is an apartment complex off of South Richmond Avenue. Take a look at your screen. This is the suspect, 28-year-old Chukwuebuka Nwobodo. Investigators say Felicia was visiting from California when she was reported missing back on April 16th after her bloody phone was discovered at Bear Creek Pioneers Park. Houston police tell us Nwobodo picked Felicia up from an apartment complex on Windchase Boulevard and took her to his apartment here on South Richmond Avenue. Investigators say they found evidence that Nwobodo killed her here before getting rid of her personal belongings at the park and disposing of her body. Quanell X, who's been helping Felicia's family, weighs in.
We need you young sisters to look at these cases like Felicia Johnson and realize that your life can be taken from you in the blink of an eye by some sick-minded individual.
And Nwobodo is still on the run. If you see him or know where he is, please call Houston police. Sadly, Felicia's body has not been recovered yet. Kimberly.
It was the news no one was wanting to hear or expecting. Ugochi Loca live for us this morning. Thank you.
Hey.
All right, everybody. That's KHOU 11 News. I will be bringing you back-to-back information pertaining to the suspect and the victim, Miss Felicia Johnson. Thank you for joining me. I will not try to pronounce his name because he's irrelevant to me. I will just call him the Machine. The suspect is at large for the murder of Felicia Johnson. If you need to verify any information in this live, all said audio is posted to my community board. Thank you. Timeline reveals chilling details of Felicia Johnson's disappearance. KHOU 11 is the source.
Felicia Johnson's purse in Bear Creek Park, close to where Johnson's family found her cell phone. And although Houston police believe the 24-year-old
Let me try to go back on that. Hold on one second.
They still have not.
I think we got work to do, and we're ready to do it.
It was Texans EquiSearch volunteers that found Felicia Johnson's purse in Bear Creek Park, close to where Johnson's family found her cell phone. And although Houston police believe the 24-year-old was murdered, they still have not found her body.
Bear Creek Park, it's thick in areas. There's some little roads that go off. There's some little areas that would be simple to pull in and dump something and get out without being seen.
Tim Miller says his volunteers stand ready to search again. The suspect, Chukwuebuka, Nwobodo, is charged with murder, but still on the run.
We actually didn't even do call-outs for all of our members because we didn't want a possible suspect to know where we were searching or what we were doing.
According to court documents, here's the timeline Houston police homicide detectives have laid out. On April 16th at 2:56 in the morning, Johnson is last seen at the Intercontinental Hotel at the medical center. She gets into an Uber HPD says was ordered by Nwobodo. He responded, detectives say, to an ad Johnson placed online. The Uber took Johnson to Nwobodo's old address on Windchase. Then he picks her up and takes her to his apartment on South Richmond, according to police. An hour later, his car is seen on surveillance video leaving the complex. And at 5:12 in the morning, Johnson's phone connects with a cell tower near where her family finds it in Bear Creek Park later that day. The next 2 days, HPD says receipts showed Nwobodo took out money, purchased supplies, and his internet searches included things like most forested parts of Houston. On May 13th, detectives got search warrants for his car and apartment. He was taken into custody during a traffic stop, but it's unclear when he was released. In the apartment, investigators found very strong support of Johnson's DNA, and in his car, a gun, knife, and shovel.
My fear is now that, and hopefully I'm wrong, this is one of them cases where she's never going to be found.
Oh, mercy. Somehow the audio went out on here. KHOU 11 is the source. Thank you all so much for joining me. If you need verification, it's posted to my community board. Warning for thousands of Houstonians following woman's murder. This was uploaded 19 hours ago. Fox 26 Houston is the source. Thank you for joining me. It's horrific.
Thousands of Houstonians, Tom Lee.
Yeah, according to court records, Felicia Johnson and the man now charged with her murder, they agreed to meet up on Snapchat, and he was supposed to pay her $500. That's according to court records. Well, she hasn't been seen since, and tonight there is a warning for the thousands of Houstonians who work in the sex industry.
Anybody can become a victim of a villain.
That's the first point Precinct 1 Human Trafficking Victim Services Director Catherine Griffin wants to drive home. Let the murder of 24-year-old Felicia Johnson be a learning lesson, and don't think it can't happen to you.
It is so dangerous, and every media outlet should be screaming from the rooftops on how dangerous this is, and let stories like this be known.
Chukwuebuka Nwobodo is now charged with murdering and dismembering Felicia Johnson after investigators say her blood was found in his apartment. Court documents show she was last seen April 16th, leaving her hotel in an Uber paid for by Nwobodo. On April 17th, investigators say he bought a handheld and a power saw, towels, and trash bags, and according to court records, even as Nwobodo searched the internet for things like, can bleach destroy DNA, and the most forested part of Houston, he also Googled Houston escorts. And there are tens of thousands here.
I would estimate and say anywhere from 70 to 80,000 sex industry workers daily.
That's a lot, just in Houston, Harris counties.
Yes.
Griffin wants sex workers to do a few things to stay safe, such as don't meet at a client's home, but most of all, she wants you to know help getting out of this industry is available.
It's very vitally important that individuals know to reach out to us so that we can help.
Precinct 1 can help with everything from treatment to therapy to housing and finding a job. We have contact information for them on our website. Felicia Johnson's body, by the way, still hasn't been found, and her accused killer is still on the run. Reporting live near downtown Houston, I'm Donnelly Keith, Fox 26 News.
Thank you so much for joining me. All information in form of audio is posted to my community board. I will now bring you commentary via the news. Thank you so much for joining me. KHOU is the source, number one. Felicia Johnson, update. Man charged with murder in the disappearance of 24-year-old woman. The suspect has been identified as Chukwuebuka Nwobodo, who is not in custody. I will just call him the machine because I don't want to try to pronounce the name. Murder charges have been filed against a woman who police say killed Felicia Johnson, 24-year-old woman who's been missing for nearly 8 weeks. Houston police announced on Thursday. The man has been identified. Police say he's also charged with tampering with evidence. He is currently not in custody. Johnson was reported missing April 16th. Her father believes she went missing after interviewing for a job at an adult entertainment club on Houston's northwest side. But police said an investigation revealed Johnson left the hotel in Houston's medical center in the early morning hours of April 16th and was later picked up at an apartment complex by the machine in the 3200 block of Wind Chase Boulevard. They say he then took her to his apartment and killed her before disposing of her cell phone in Bear Creek, Pioneers Park. Her cell phone was later found by family members covered in blood. Police said it is believed the machine disposed of Johnson's body a few days after the murder. Her body has yet to be recovered. If anyone have any information pertaining to the suspect's whereabouts or on this case, is urged to contact the HPD Homicide Division 713-308-3600 or Crime Stoppers 713-222-8477. And also KHOU 11 is also on social media by Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me. Source number 2, KHOU. Reward offered for information leading to the arrest of suspect in Felicia Johnson's disappearance. Community activist Quanell X said the news of Felicia Johnson's death has been heartbreaking for her family. Where is Felicia Johnson? That is the question on everyone's mind after police revealed the 24-year-old woman from California was killed, but her body has yet to be found. Somebody out there has to know something, said Andy Cohan with Crime Stoppers. Police have announced murder charges for the 28-year-old suspect. He has also been charged with tampering with evidence, but no one knows of his whereabouts. Houston police said Johnson left the Intercontinental Hotel Medical Center April 16th. The machine picked her up at an apartment on Wind Chase and took her to his apartment on South Richmond, where he allegedly killed her. Police said he then dumped her cell phone at Bear Creek Park, which was later found, but they still have not found her body. Community activist Quanell X said the news was heartbreaking for Johnson's family. We need you young sisters to look at these cases like Felicia Johnson and realize that your life can be taken from you in a blink of an eye by some sick individual, he said during a press conference Thursday. Within a month, we got a suspect. They are charged with murder. We know who you are, and eventually you are going to get caught, Kahan said. More information on this case is expected to come next week. And mind you, this is a couple of days old content. As I said, if you have any information, please contact Crime Stoppers at 713-222-8477. KHOU is source number 3. Man now charged with the murder of Felicia Johnson case was released from custody after her death, documents say. This machine is charged with murder, tampering with evidence, according to court documents. He was in custody about a month ago. This content was uploaded June 13th. A man charged with the murder in connection with the disappearance of a 24-year-old woman searched for multiple ways to destroy evidence and get away with the crime, court documents say. The 28-year-old suspect faces 2 felony charges in the disappearance of Felicia Johnson. He's been charged with murder, tampering, fabricating physical evidence, according to the documents. He is not in custody. Documents obtained by KHOU 11 News show that he made multiple searches for ways to destroy evidence. There are also searches of possible how to dispose of a body, and if police can check phone records of a dead person. Johnson was reported missing April 16th. Her father believes she disappeared after interviewing for a job at an adult entertainment club on Houston's northwest side. What happened? Well, police said an investigation revealed Johnson left the hotel, Houston's medical center, in the early morning hours of April 16th. According to the documents, the machine ordered the Uber ride for Johnson after she posted an advertisement on an escort website. He then picked up Johnson at an apartment complex in the 3200 block of Windchase Boulevard, which is the address of an apartment from which he recently moved. Then took Johnson to his current residence on South Richmond Avenue and killed her before disposing of her phone. Police said it is believed he disposed of Johnson's body a few days after the murder. Documents say he received treatment on his right hand at a local clinic on the morning of April 16th, claiming he cut himself while opening boxes. New details. The suspect is seen on surveillance footage with a bandage wrap on his right hand while at Walmart purchasing trash bags, flashlights, and towels April 16th and 17th, according to the documents. He also purchased a mechanical saw from Walmart and Home Depot. Her body has yet to be recovered, but investigators said that during the search of his apartment on Richmond, they found DNA evidence that is a strong match to Johnson's. On April 20th, investigators say internet searches connected to his Gmail account shows he looked up if bleach or vinegar could destroy DNA. On April 21st, the same account conducted another search for the most forested part of Houston. Several days later, on April 27th, the suspect account searched how to delete your history completely. The next day, documents say the account searched for multiple ways on how to get away with murder. He also looked up 15 cheapest places to live in the world, $1,000 a month. On May 3rd, his account searched if police could check the phone records of a missing person and if police can unlock a phone during an investigation, according to the documents. Those searches came days after Johnson's bloody phone was found in Bear Creek Park. On May 13th, he was taken into custody during a traffic stop. Was not charged. After the traffic stop, he was released, but a cell phone in his front pocket was seized. Documents say the cell phone contained a photograph of a dismembered female, in addition to 3 photos of deceased individuals. The individuals in the photos were not identified and no metadata was associated with them. Once again, if you have information to the suspect's whereabouts or about this case, you are urged to contact HPD Homicide Division at 713-308-3600 or Crime Stoppers at 713-222-8477. Thank you so much for joining me. This is bad. This is so bad. Source number 4, ABC 13. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to the channel, $ began to 129 Cash App. All super chats and stickers are welcome during this live. Charging documents show how HPD linked suspect to Felicia Johnson's murder, uploaded June 12. Charging documents reveal new details about how HPD were able to link a suspect to the murder of Felicia Johnson, who went missing nearly 2 months ago. Police believe she was dismembered and removed from the suspect's apartment. Her remains have not been found, and investigators believe the suspect did extensive research to cover up the crime. Johnson's father said during the news conference back in April that she traveled from California to Houston for a job audition at an adult club, but was turned away. According to Uber records, investigators subpoenaed. They say the suspect was the one who requested a ride for Johnson from her hotel to his apartment on April 16th. Using that information from Uber, they obtained leads such as his phone number and email address. Upon searching his name in their system, HPD found his address from a November 2020 police report where he was being investigated for sexual assault. But the case was dismissed when the alleged victim declined to press charges. Her family in California told police they last heard from Johnson on April 15th. On April 16th, they asked a friend in Houston to search for Johnson based on the last location they pinged on her cell phone, who ended up finding it covered in blood at Bear Creek Park. Charging documents state she and the suspect were communicating on Snapchat, and her messages showed they agreed to meet for $500. His bank records showed that he withdrew money from his Wells Fargo account on April 16th in that amount. Records show that on the 16th and the 17th, he bought several supplies from Walmart, Home Depot, including a flashlight, shirt, gloves, saws, trash bags, towels. In the charging documents, Sergeant B.A. Roberts wrote, the machine made multiple online searches after April 16, 2022, relative to cleaning DNA evidence, deleting digital information, missing persons investigations, and how to get away with the murder. On May 13th, HPD conducted a search warrant and arrested the suspect after they said they found blood, weapons, receipts, and supplies in the suspect's car. They also found Johnson's DNA and blood in his apartment. Officers seized his cell phone and found a photo of a dismembered woman and 3 additional photos of deceased individuals. ABC 13 is working to find out why he was released from custody during his arrest. Last week, activist Quanell X held another news conference along with others who have been looking for Johnson. This is painful. We are sick and tired of these young girls coming up missing and being found murdered by sick-minded individuals who think they can get away with it because they are soft targets and young girls and young women of color, and they think that nobody will care, Quanell X said. Investigators are still actively looking for the suspect. If you have any information, contact HPD's Homicide Division at 713-308-3600 or Crime Stoppers at 713-222-2477 tips. Thank you so much for joining me. Now for my commentary. Oh, mercy. I am utterly devastated. As I had told most of you who have followed this content, that I spoke with her father weeks ago in trying to get him to talk to me on Everyday Shenanigans. He declined a live interview because he did not like the content that was uploaded to YouTube and social media pertaining to rumors and misinformation about his daughter. And I understood, and that was the end of our conversation. I would like to send my condolences and prayers to the father and family. As the woman spoke from the trafficking organization out of Houston, Texas, that this could be anybody, that no one is exempt from being harmed by a villain. It does not matter if you are in the sex trade industry, or you are just a random female trying to live, meet and greet, date. It does not matter. Everyone at some point in his or her life has gone alone with a stranger. And there's not one person on earth that can say that he or she has not. They would be a lie. It was understood that she went to the club to apply for employment and was declined. It was rumored that she had got into a car with someone. This is what was said from workers, staff at the club. That was the only information we had besides the phone being found, because obviously they pinged her phone, her family, and found it discarded with blood on it. It was a sick tale once we found out about the phone. You didn't know what to think about the information given by the staff. And I always said in the beginning of this story that I didn't see a reason for the people lying, women, whomever. Why would they lie about her coming in there? They've seen her picture. They know what she looks like. If they said she came in there, then she went in there. And I don't think the club management owners was wanting to cooperate in the beginning, because naturally it would be a bad look. This woman's last whereabouts coming out of their establishment. But now we have information that she left a hotel. So obviously she made it out of that establishment, allegedly got in a car with somebody, and then possibly, or obviously made it back to her hotel, because they now have information coming from the suspect's phone that he paid for an Uber to go to the hotel to pick her up. The Uber then takes her to an address that he previously lived at, which is very suspicious to me. And after going to address number 1, he picks her up and takes her to his apartment, number 2. Let me reread that because this is very odd information to me, which will decide if there was intent in the beginning to harm her. One moment, please. Let's see. I'm going to go back to ABC 13. So I want to make sure I'm repeating all this. It says he requested a ride for Johnson from her hotel April 16th. Okay. Hold on one second. Shows from his Fargo account, he withdrew $500, the amount they agreed on through social media for a meetup. Let me see. This is more of the evidence. I'm going to go back to another article that gives me more information. Hold on one second. Thank you for joining me. Just want to make sure I'm repeating everything correctly. Okay, Ms. Johnson left the hotel at Houston's Medical Center in the early hours of April 16th, was later picked up at an apartment complex in the 3200 block of Winchase Boulevard. Police say he then took her to his apartment and killed her before disposing of her cell phone. So this is where it would show possible intent, possible first-degree murder. Because why would you have her go to an apartment that you no longer lived in, pick her up from apartment number 1 on this, hold on one second, because I want to make sure I'm repeating everything correctly. Apartment number 1 is 3200 block of Winchase Boulevard. Police say he then took her to his apartment. This will be the new apartment. So we're talking about 2 separate residents. Why did he have her go to apartment number 1 where he used to live? Because when I first read this article, I was just like, I said, I have to reread this. So naturally, you have to go into information to get other information to get a more thorough read, because every content will not be worded the same. So obviously, he had her go to apartment number 1 for a reason. So what happened? Uber drops her off. Was he already there waiting in another vehicle? They didn't say that another Uber was there to pick her up. So she would have to ask herself, was she at this point leery of the suspect? Because if Uber took her to address number 1, she gets out, she waits. How long did she wait? As I said, was he already there when she showed up? Was she not leery due to the fact that he did not live at address number 1? Did she ask him, why are we going to another apartment? Because I think at this point, Ms. Johnson had to be leery of why she is not going into an apartment at the first location. I think anybody would be leery. Why are we not going into the apartment, sir? Why are we going somewhere else, sir? You see, this is where the machine is not very bright. Everything in your phone can be traceable. It does not matter that you delete an app. It does not matter if you delete text messages, Google searches. You can erase it all day. Go into the phone and delete your current searches, last searches, cell phone numbers, text messages, apps. It is in the phone, regardless. He withdrew money. So one could argue, well, he wanted to pay her. Why withdraw the money from the bank? But as I said, when he's caught, apprehended, goes to court, the defense will use that. Well, yes, we know it's suspicious that she went to apartment 1. He picks her up and takes her to apartment 2. But he withdrew the money. So the defense, what answer will you have for what happened in apartment number 2? Yes, we know it was a decoy because, as I said, he didn't think it could be traced. So that's why he took her, had the Uber go to number 1, thinking it wouldn't be traced. But the point is, as I've said, everything is in your phone, so it does not matter. Uber is an app, so therefore, when you ordered the Uber, that was in your phone. Your conversation on Snapchat, that's in your phone. What happened in apartment number 2? Did he offer the money up front? Did he ambush her as soon as they walked in the door? Did they even have relations once she got to apartment number 2? We will not know because the decedent, she's believed to be deceased. And with what was found on his phone, highly suspicious of death, what happened in that apartment? See, for those of you who do not follow true crime regularly, there is a code for a sadist, such as a rapist. He will commit however many rapes until he's apprehended. But the day that he is questioned and or apprehended, and by some luck of the draw, able to get out of custody, he already has a, what is the word I'm looking for? Heavy desire to assault. He will make sure to never go back to jail. And it has become known with the predator that after being questioned, arrested, let go, bonded out, he will do whatever he has to do to stay free. Which means when he reoffends, he will kill the victim. He has a 2020 arrest record for sexual assault, where the victim did not press charges. So this leads to the point I'm making. He made sure in 2022 that he would not get arrested. For any said crimes against a woman. But foolishly, social media, amen, has made it easy to track a person's conversations, Google searches in their phone. There is a reward, $5,000 reward for the apprehension of this machine. I do not know where he is. I do not know if he's still in the country, but he needs to be apprehended. And the baffling part of this story is the last content I brought you, is that he was arrested but let go. Why? You see, as I told you, each article will have different information. Information number 1 just says he was apprehended during a traffic stop or pulled over, phone seized. First thing I thought was, well, why would you be seizing a phone during a traffic stop? Why did you stop him? Number 1. Number 2, was his name already in the system as somebody to stop in the disappearance of Felicia Johnson? You seized the phone. You looked on the phone perhaps while he was in custody or not. Because what I have to ask myself is, if you looked at the phone while he was in custody and saw a dismembered body, why in the hell would you let him go? Because you had to have pulled him over for a reason. So we're going to go back to number one. Why did you pull over the suspect? Why did he get arrested? Why did you let him go? Because you don't seize phones in traffic stops. You either got stopped because what? Your car fit the description of a crime. You ran a light, speeding, expired tags. Somebody gave a description of you doing something you didn't have no business. What was the reason? Why was he let go? The fact that he had searches in the phone for how to get away with the crime, murder, bleach, vinegar, to get rid of DNA. This man is an utter fool. DNA believed to be that of Miss Johnson left behind in the apartment. Very scary. What was left behind in the apartment? Because, you know, blood is not that easy to clean up on surfaces such as carpet. Even the walls. It will leave a yellowish stain once you wipe it. And you're talking about cutting up a human being. He purchased 2 saws, so I think you can use your imagination how gritty this crime was. And how long it would take to clean up the said area where he disposed of her body. So let's use our better thinking to say he put her in the bathtub, perhaps. Easier place to try to dispose of a body. This is a place that many bodies have been dismembered in. Excuse my commentary on this. But I won't doubt that's where most of the DNA is. What happened in that apartment? Did she say something he didn't like? Did he ask her to do something she didn't want to do? Or did he just have a sick sensation to dominate and kill her? Was that the reason for accepting her offer? Many of you are probably confused at the fact that she was on a website for solicitation. Has she been soliciting back in California? Because it was known to her family she went to Houston to try to get a job in the industry to dance, but was declined from the said establishment where allegedly she was last seen. So then she decided to say, well, I need money. This is the quicker way to get some money. I'll put an ad on a website to meet up with a male caller. But as I said, was this her first encounter with soliciting herself, or has she been doing this back in California? And will they find information that she had also been doing this type of work in California? This is disturbing news. And I don't even know why I'm late getting the notifications. I just happened to find it. I think it came up in my Google search as soon as I opened the Google about a reward. And I thought, what are they talking about? I'm utterly disgusted right now. Because we as women, and men as well, because things have happened horrible to men as well, you do not know people. You do not know people. And one thing I've told you all on this network, and I'll keep saying it until I'm no longer a YouTuber. My aunt once told me that even if you agree to entertain a man or invite him over, no matter what the conversation is, once the door is closed, it does not mean he will play fair. Amen. One would say, you've agreed to meet the lady, have sexual relations for monies. Why would you kill her? You have to know you could be caught through social media and a device. But you see, the narcissist, the sociopath, always thinks he's up one. But he is not. because you can be traced through cell phone. And where he messed up is that her cell phone was discovered because they tracked the phone, her family. So you thought by dismembering her, discarding her, throwing out her purse, her cell phone, you were done with her. Having the Uber take her to apartment number 1 would put you in the clear. But where you messed up is that her phone has data on it. Bingo card. There was no getting rid of Miss Felicia Johnson. You may have gotten rid of the flesh, but everything was left on the phone. You went into a public store, plural, to buy supplies, which you used to dismember her body. Bingo card. You cut yourself in dismembering this young lady. And it has been said when women and people are stabbed that the suspect usually cuts him or herself. And obviously, you did that. And you went to the clinic and got aid. Bingo card. More evidence. Your device told on you. Her device told on you. Going into a store, purchasing items. Being seen on camera. Taking the money out of your Fargo bank account told on you. Because you see, you always leave a blueprint wherever you go. When Google Maps is turned on, location, same thing. It tells everywhere you've gone. That's why when you leave the notification on your phone, and later on, a day or two later, Google will send you a notification to ask you, how was McDonald's? How was Applebee's? How was the nail salon? Because that's where you last were. Or you was in the vicinity of a said business. So you see, sir, Google was on. Bingo card. If you see this machine, know of this machine, please call the Houston Police Department and or Crime Stoppers and give him up. We do not need him walking around, scurrying around like a rat. Because we know that desperate people do desperate things. And if he is willing to lure a woman for sexual favors and kill her and dismember her and search for ways to get away with the crime, he will do the same to somebody else to stay hidden. If you're in the sexual industry, perhaps it's best you find you another profession. It's no good. And you know the old saying about quick money. It usually leads to detrimental ramifications. Meeting and greeting, just as dangerous. You don't know people. Whether you are on a date site, you met somebody at the Walmart, the gym, it's all the same. A nice looking face, a nice looking car, well dressed, nice conversation doesn't mean anything when the door is closed. That's when the mask is taken off and the person has revealed himself and the devil appears. No one is exempt from being a victim. We have an uptick of crime here in America, and you do not know the mindset of anyone. You can go in the store and be shot, go into church and be shot, go to a concert and be shot, go to a rally and be shot. You can meet and greet and be shot, killed, murdered. You could be robbed, home invasion, bad date, scorned lover. It's all the same. No one is exempt. As it has been said in this commentary, that women, you need to be careful of the company you keep. And in the end, you are never going to know until it's too late, quite frankly. I'm sure that when she met with him, she didn't think this would be her last night on earth morning. Why would she think that? She was going to make her money, do what she had to do, and get on back. But she was not afforded that opportunity by this dirty machine because he had other intentions. So as I said, no one is exempt from being harmed. Doesn't matter how she met him, because many women have been murdered. And they were not murdered from solicitation. You don't know people. You have to be careful getting help from people. If you were to ever get stranded, morning, noon, or night, does not matter. Giving out your personal information, talking too much on social media of your whereabouts and places that you're going, being too friendly, being inebriated, your guard is down, trusting someone to get in your car, give someone a ride, get in the car with somebody, meet somebody somewhere, it doesn't matter where it is. Inviting someone back to your home or hotel. You have opened yourself up for a possible altercation, assault, and death. And I have this feeling that when Felicia got to apartment number 1, she had to have thought to herself, why am I here? Because we don't know if he was already there waiting for her. Pulled up, she stood outside. See, all this is dangerous because we don't know the exact details of when she got to apartment number 1 by the Uber. If she sat in the Uber for a minute, got out of the Uber, he was already there waiting on her, or she had to stand outside and wait. Now imagine that, as I said, how crazy this has to have been to her if she had to get out of Uber number 1 and wait for the suspect to pick her up. What was she thinking? Why am I standing out here if he lives here? Where is he? How did it go? See, he was trying to cover his tracks, which leads me to believe he had deadly intentions from the start. Whether he withdrew the money or not, it's still contradictory to send her to a place that you knew you did not live. Why did you do that, sir? Because it looks like you had devious intentions, which you did. Why did he kill her? He didn't have to kill her. See, none of it makes any sense. Luring her to apartment number 1, taking her to apartment number 2, taking money out of the bank to only kill her and dismember her. It makes no damn sense. But that is the point of a sick mind. It can't make sense because the person is illogical and they're demented. So you can't make and draw logic from the illogical. As I said, anyone can be a victim, no matter the circumstances. And unfortunately, this young lady was snuffed out by this creep. It may not be his first time. In this area, I've brought you content pertaining to Houston and many stories pertaining to women missing, later found deceased. And the stories were back to back the past year and a half that I brought you content pertaining to missing women. The Instagram model killed by her husband. Black female same weekend found in the trunk of a boyfriend's car speeding down the highway. Another young lady, pretty girl, missing. Guy from Florida comes up, breaks into her townhouse. How did he get in? The stories are endless. Each different. Do you see what I'm saying? Each story different, but still pertaining to the untimely death of a young woman. Boyfriend, ex-lover, husband, meet up, hook up, whatever. Doesn't matter. You don't know people. So it doesn't matter if you are soliciting yourself for sexual favors, if you're hooking up with somebody for the first time, second time, if you're walking the streets to make money, you're meeting somebody on a date site for the first time, you're inviting somebody over to your house, home, hotel room, and it's all the same. You do not know people. And as I said, we have all met people alone. There's not one human being that has not met another human being alone. And as my aunt said, that it doesn't matter how the conversation started and what the intent was in the conversation, that once he opens the door, comes in the door, you shut the door, all bets are off. And that is when you will find the true intention of the said person. Felicia Johnson, believed to be deceased, 24 years of age, from California. She put her profile on an escort service. And unfortunately, this machine obliged her. Mercy. This is utterly, utterly the most disgusting information I've had to bring to you all. And it gives me pause, such as Mr. Quanell has said, Mr. Quanell X, that you need to be very careful out here. And as I said, that even in saying that, what does it mean once the door is closed? Because all bets are off once the door is closed and there's nobody around to help you, save you. And that has to be the most horrific feeling, to think you're going to meet somebody for whatever reason and to see the eyes of the devil stare you down and you realize you made a grave mistake by meeting with this person. And you know that something good is not about to happen. I cannot imagine what she went through and what he did to her before dismembering her body. And obviously he had to have left her deceased in his apartment for a few days before getting the tools and doing everything he needed to do to take her out of there. What type of sick person kills another human being for no damn reason? Sexual assault, violating a person's body. That's why he's free. Because the last victim that we know of didn't press charges. Perhaps she was afraid. Maybe he threatened her. I do not know. Maybe she felt like she wasn't treated well by law enforcement. Maybe they told her, he's denying the allegations. Your word against his. Maybe they made her feel like she was lying. I do not know. What other crimes has he committed? Is this his first murder? Has he been sexually assaulting women for some time? He's in his late 20s. He's possibly done this before. Sexual assault. Gotten away with it. Does he have any other criminal records, allegations against him for sexual assault or deviant behavior against a woman? Where is Felicia Johnson? And this is the sick part of the story. He's dismembered this lady, and that means the obvious. She is not whole. And she's scattered around. Houston area or outside of Houston. So now this is the daunting task of searchers trying to find pieces of a young lady. I want to thank the Texas Echo Search. God bless you, Mr. Miller, for you and your organization and your team members to help try to find this young lady. You found her purse out there in the park. This is so bad. This is so bad. And I know her father has to be just devastated. Because I'm sure that when they found the phone, that was the first sign that things had gone awry with his daughter. There's no words. If anybody has any information, please call the Houston Police Department. The Homicide Division is 713-308-3600, or Crime Stoppers at 713-222-8477. I want to thank you all for joining me. I will be back later with more commentary. Prayers to the Johnson family, and my sincerest condolences. And my prayers to all women out here trying to live and survive and make it however you choose. Just know that everyone does not have decent intentions, and that you do not know people. And you need to be very careful meeting people alone, whether it be in their home hotel or in your own home or hotel. That what sounds nice at first, friendly smile, that will not be the person when the door is closed. Thank you all so much for following the content. God bless all of you. All sorts of information by audio is on my community post via the YouTube queue. And all information by article has a source. ABC 13 and KHOU News 11. Thank you all so much for joining me. God bless all of you. This is Everyday Shenanigans.